Welcome to another episode of Fill in the Blank podcast. I'm here with Tashawn Coughs a Lot.
Yeah, that should be. When you put it up, put that next to
That's
it.
your nickname. Coughs a Lot. So what do you know about the fire whirl? What does that spark in your mind? You like that spark?
Well, before we get into it, if I didn't know anything about it, I would imagine a tornado or a fiery cloud, you know?
Yeah, like a fiery vortex.
Yeah, like a vortex eating cars with
now,
flames.
Now ask me what I thought of when I thought of fire whirl.
What did you think it was a band?
I thought of a really shitty carnival ride.
What
that happened to do. Like some guy was like, I'm gonna make an awesome fire like painting on the side of this weird little spinning device, and then next thing you know, when the people are on it, I'm going to set it on fire.
And call it the fire whirl.
You get to ride on this ride while you're on fire. Sign this waiver, please. All right. Well, actually, a fire whirl, also commonly known as a fire devil, or in many cases known as a fire tornado, firenado, fire swirl, or fire twister. I would call it a firenado because we already have Sharknado. Let's do firenado.
I like fire twister.
Fire twister? I don't know.
You ever watch that movie Twister?
I did.
They should make a remake called Fire Twister. And
I'm pretty sure they wouldn't probably go near that one because the other, you gotta think, what's the difference between wind hitting you at a fast thing and then fire hitting you?
I don't know, but Hollywood didn't make money, so.
Yeah. Well, there you go, Hollywood, get on it. Deshaun just gave you an idea.
I can be a writer, man. Let me be an executive producer.
There you go, executive producer. Well, a whirlwind introduced or induced by a fire and often at least partially composed of flame or ash. These start with a whirl of wind, often made visible by smoke, and may occur when intense rising heat and turbulent wind conditions combine to form whirling, basically eddies of air. These eddies can contract a tornado-like vortex that sucks in debris and combustible gases. Fire whirls are sometimes colloquially called fire tornadoes, but are not usually classifiable as tornadoes, as the vortex in most cases does not extend from the surface to cloud basis. So also, even in such cases, those fire whirls very rarely are classic tornadoes, as their vorticity derives from surface winds and heat-inducing lifting, rather than a fire or a tornadic mesocyclone aloft. Although a handful of suspected cases of the latter are known. So only a very few cases of the fire whirl are actually known to happen. I think mostly because like we've seen a dust tornado before, those little like things when the wind starts picking up and you see like a little tiny like whirlwind on the floor, especially when you're walking out of school with like leaves and stuff, you know. Instead of Tashawn Coughs a Lot, I'm going to change it to Tashawn Clears His Throat Collins.
Yeah, I like that one better.
Just messing with you. So car fire was actually the last and most destructive case where it totaled 1,100 homes destroyed, scorching 1,130,000 acres, but only killing 6 people.
So I guess I was right with my depiction, huh?
Yeah, with the car fire. Now, what do you know about the California fires? It raged for days, and they couldn't get it out, and people had to leave their homes and evacuate. Joe Rogan actually had the firefighters stay at his house and then offered them the meat that was in his freezer to cook up, and they sent him a picture of them grilling his deer meat.
Yeah.
It's like these firefighters were risking their life to fight literally a fire that lasted day, night.
I commend all those firefighters, even the ones in our local firefighters, because that's a dangerous job, man. I feel like a lot of the, local firefighters don't get a lot of credit for things that they do.
Having the strength and courage to run into a burning building.
Everyone else is running out and you're running in.
It's the same thing with people in the military, like you yourself being in the military. You're running into the battle instead of running away from it. The complete opposite of what most people are told to do.
Exactly. And those people, they have heart, man. They have something most people don't have.
That's why every time I look at you, I hear that one song play in my head. Dun 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 dun. Dun. You hate that song? Yeah. I don't know. It's just like I see these crowd of people like running, and you're just stepping up like Superman, ripping off your freaking shirt. And just being
We
I don't
run
know.
towards the bowl.
It's just, even when I was younger, man, it's just certain people, they are attracted to, oh, well, maybe I can go help these people out. Or maybe there's something that I can do.
That's what I actually pride myself in. I'll take a bullet for anyone that shows me respect.
Yeah.
And I legit mean that. If I'm in a store, I'll be the first person someone pulls out a gun. And a lot of people are like, you're just talk. When the situation actually happens, look, I've been in situations where a fire has broken out in a house, and I have stayed to go make sure everyone has gotten out of the house. I almost signed up for the fire program, but I don't like all the program stuff to do, and that's the same reason why I'm not in the military. I'm not getting good at being told with authority. If there is a fire nearby, and firefighters like, don't go in there, I'm like, I'm going in there. And they're like,
Especially if it's my house or my friends.
they're like, Robbie, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm like, and my mom comes out and goes, you have to tell him the opposite. He does the opposite of whatever you say. Firefighter's like, hey kid, run in there. I'm like, oh, I'm not going in there now. Shit, you told me what? Unless they told me.
That's how I am too.
Unless they told me there was a pot roast in there or a hot pocket. That's how the house fire started.
24.
That's how the house fire started. The dude left the
24
hot
hot
pocket.
pockets left in the freezer. You gotta go get them.
I'd be like, yo, my hot pocket's in the microwave. Gotta go back in there. The whole building's on fire. But my hot pocket.
You're crazy, kid.
I left my Lucky Charm sitting out on the table, bro.
There's still milk in my bowl.
The car fire was the 7th most destructive in California's history. So it can actually be caused by brush fires. So just trees lighting on fire, and then you get a gust of wind that happens to pick it up in a weird way, or certain air accumulates.
In California.
Bam! Talk about a double whammy.
That's how they spread so fast.
Smokey the Bear, I don't even think could handle a fire tornado. He's like, look, I'm here for forest fires, not fire tornadoes.
He's still the logo?
I'm pretty sure. I don't know how they could kill Smokey the Bear off.
Bear, man. He needs to go out there and fight some fires.
Snuff McGruff, the crime dog. Can't kick him out. Or the Dare Lion. I think that was the only one that got kicked out.
Really?
Dare's not anymore, dude.
Really?
You don't know about this? It taught kids to use drugs more than it did to stay away from them. It showed
I just
them all
remember our Dare officer. He's a sheriff now.
Yeah. Well, it showed them all the cool effects of drugs. Hey, kids, this is PCP. It gives you extra strength and all this type of stuff. And you're like, what? And he never got to the bad part about it.
Wow. You're getting bullied at school.
Yeah.
Take PCP.
This right here is heroin. You shoot this up, you go into a land of paranormal experiences. What? You like seeing ghosts? That's what Dare was literally about. They stopped doing that a while ago. So, formation. A fire whirl consists of a burning core and rotating pocket of air. A fire whirl can reach up to 2,000 Fahrenheit or 1,090 degrees Celsius. Fire whirls become frequent when a wildfire or especially firestorm creates its own wind, which can spawn large vortices. Even bonfires often have whirls on a smaller scale, and tiny fire whirls have been generated by very small fires in laboratories. Mm-hmm. Just think of how primal fire is. How we take that for granted. We used to use fire as light. We used to do that. Now we take it for granted when we turn on the stove. We take it for granted in so many things. People start fires all the time just to have fun. We use it as a way of relaxing, lighting a bonfire. That's the more seemed as contained fire. Imagine how close sometimes someone throws a Christmas tree on that fire, a little bit of gasoline on there, and how insane it can get. Next thing you know, half the forest is going down. Fire is the one element besides like water. And I mean, honestly, a lot of the nature's elements, I think, is just...
You can't really control it.
You can't control nature.
Can't control them. And a lot of people, a lot of surfers will tell you that too. Don't challenge nature because nature will win every time, you know? And it's so true. You want to go out there and play God, or okay, cool. Go out there. You see the high tide coming in and you think you can handle it, but it's bigger than you've ever seen. You go ahead out there and you try it.
All it takes is that split second. Next thing you know, you're gone. So they may be dangerous, but they allow enough time for people and animals to actually get away. A fire whirl is actually pretty slow, which is the reason why after 1,100 homes were destroyed and 113,000 acres, only 6 people died in those car fires, which is, I mean, a good thing that's only just a small amount of people that died. But Animals, everything, they're able to get away because when you see this fire vortex, you have time to move. It's a very slow moving,
Exactly.
and you have time to get out of there. Honestly, I think like where we have storm chasers that chase after tornadoes, can't picture any storm chaser chasing after a fire tornado. Instead of blowing your pants off, it's catching your pants on fire.
Yeah.
So most of the largest fire whirls are spawned from wildfires. They form when a warm updraft and convergence from the wildfire are present. They are usually 10 to 50 meters. For Americans, it's 33 to 164 feet tall. A few meters, several feet wide, and last only a few minutes. Some, however, can be more than 1 kilometer, 0.6 miles tall, contain wind speeds over 200 kilometers, which is 120 miles per hour, and persist for more than 20 minutes. Imagine that. A half a mile fire tornado with wind spinning at 120 miles an hour.
Picturing it now.
Imagine if I took a baseball bat, poured gasoline on it, lit it on fire, and then swung. Now imagine that times 10 getting hit all over your side of your body.
How tall was it? 100?
It was half a mile.
Jesus. Imagine that, man. Just picture the tallest building you can right now. And then one of the hotels in Ocean City.
Then spinning. No, one of our hotels. You had to pick up a tall hotel, the Holiday Inn.
Which one taller, Hilton or
Holiday Inn on 17th Street?
Yeah, I guess you would be right.
That one's
just picture that.
That's not as big as half a mile, but it's pretty close.
It's pretty big. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still big.
Imagine that.
You would be out of your jaws running. You know?
A fire tornado, and it's 120 mile an hour winds.
And you don't see those every day.
Imagine trying to stick your hand through a fire tornado.
You wouldn't have a hand.
It would just like turn into ash right in the thing. It's gone.
Like on Shazam when that lady touches the door and she freaking disappears.
You seen Shazam?
Yeah.
That's a good movie.
It was amazing.
Shazam.
I think they nailed it.
They definitely did.
I think they nailed it.
So, there's only actually a recorded of 19 cases of this phenomenon in Australia per year.
So rare.
It turns out Australia actually has the most relative cases of this type of phenomenon, only because of where they're located
Exactly. No, that's why we don't see those type of natural disasters over here, because we don't have the climate or the necessary means for that to happen. Dry heat.
You got to think though. We have global warming going on.
Yeah.
When until we see a fire tornado? I mean,
Bill
California already experienced it, so it's like, when's it going to start being more of a common occurrence to have things like that California fire?
So, and what are they saying now? They're saying within 12 to 15 years.
All I saw was the guy that basically saved my childhood with knowledge, Bill Nye. And he snapped and said, "Guess what? The Earth's on fire." He goes, "You're grown-ups now. I'm tired of teaching you shit." I was like, "Thank you, Bill Nye, for putting it more into my older age terms, where you're still teaching me today."
And it's scary, man. We take everything for granted, like we were talking about earlier.
I love what he said before he walked away. You're not kids anymore. Grow up. And he walked out. I was like,
and he threw a freaking fire extinguisher.
I can't picture you any more than that theme song.
Yeah, that was amazing. We just take life for granted now, man, and we only get one Earth, and we're not taking care of it.
It's not going to last until something happens that scares us all, man. So fire whirls can uproot trees that are 15 meters, where are 49 feet tall or more. They can also aid the spotting ability of wildfires to propagate and start new fires as they lift burning materials such as tree bark. These burning embers can be blown away from the figure ground by the stronger winds aloft. So imagine you're fighting one forest fire, and there's a fire vortex in the side that you're like, I'm not going to worry about that right now because I need to get this fire out. Next thing you know, a tree branch that's on fire flies from where you're working at all the way to a whole other part of the forest that isn't on fire, and that catches on fire. Now you're like, shit. Now you got to run over there.
That's how it starts, man. That's how it starts. Just one little cloud, fiery, whatever, boom. There goes another one.
Well, I mean, the only benefit about these fire vortexes is that their lifespan is very short. We don't have to worry about them. We don't have to worry about them for very long. And that's the longest recorded one is 20 minutes. That's still a lot, though, if you think.
20 minutes.
It's better than an hour.
It's better than a day.
But how long does it take for a fire to get out? Once it starts a fire, just because that fire tornado is not there anymore, how long until we can control that fire?
It depends.
they can do a lot of damage in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, fire whirls can be common within the vicinity of a plume during a volcanic eruption. I just imagine you're trying to run away from a volcano. Pompeii's happening right now, and you got to worry about fire vortexes.
And you're freaking running as fast as you can, get
You're
nowhere.
trying to run to the exit. There's a fire vortex waiting there with boxing gloves. Like, what's up? You coming this way? I don't think so.
Knocking your ass out the whole way. You wouldn't be able to get away on foot.
I like how you used that when you said knocking your ass out.
Yeah, it would, man. It was traveling 120 miles an hour.
Well, you made that ding perfectly, and I went right into that, and I was like, dang. I was like, good one. Well, these range from small to large and form basically a variety of mechanisms, including those skin to typical fire whirl processes, but can result in columbinubus flagellatitis, which is a cloud spawning land spouts and water spouts, or even to develop male cyclone-like updraft rotation of the plume itself, and or cumulonimbus, which is those clouds, which can spawn tornadoes similar to those in supercells. So basically, these generated by large fires on rare occasion also develops in a similar way. Now, there's actually different classifications of fire whirls. There are 3 widely recognized types. The first one is stable and centered over a burning area. Type 2 is stable or transient downwind of a burning area. Type 3 is steady or transient, centered over an open area adjacent to an asymmetric burning area with wind. These are also known as apocalyptic 5-second disasters, because that's usually how long it takes. There is evidence suggesting that the fire whirl in Fukushuko Ato area during the 1923 Great Kanto earthquake was a Type 3. Other mechanism and fire whirl dynamics may exist. Some notable examples of this, besides the 1923 Great Kanto earthquake in Japan, which ignited a large city-sized firestorm and produced a gigantic fire whirl that killed, 38,000 people in 15 minutes.
38,000?
In the region of Tokyo. Why did it tell me that that was in the California fire?
Oh, okay,
that it only killed 6 people.
I was about to say, I thought earlier that they said that was the largest.
It was the 7th largest. The 7th largest. But this one killed 38,000 people in Tokyo. It's because there's so many of them there, man. They are so overpopulated. You crash your bike, you're killing 30 of them at least. You have to, come on, it's true.
Oh, man. Just picture crashing your bike and killing 30 people.
You're riding real fast and just knocking 30 people
Not a gas-powered bike, not electric-powered bike, a man-powered bike.
And that's a fact, too. You know when you see, like, people from that culture that are here and they bump into you and they don't say anything and they just walk by, you're like, that person's rude. They're not rude, actually. You know what it is? They're so overpopulated where they're at. That's a common thing. They literally move kids out of their way when they walk. And nobody says anything about it because it's not a thing to them.
Have you seen the highway? There's a picture I shared on Facebook.
And they're all moving like craziness.
And there's like 8 lanes. I think it's in China. It's like 8 lanes and thousands of cars.
They got to populate, so they got to figure out ways of working around each other.
Gosh.
I can't be close to people that much. Another example is the numerous large fire whirls, some tornadic, then developed after lightning struck on an oil storage facility near San Luis Obispo, California on the 7th of April, 1926. Several of which produced significant structural damage well away from the fire, killing 2. Many whirlwinds were produced by the 4-day-long firestorm coincidence with conditions that produced severe thunderstorms in which the larger fire whirls carry debris 5 miles away. So imagine, lightning hits an oil thing, and then a fire whirl happens. Talk about nature, not even starting a fire whirl, but literally hitting something in it's human development and environmental.
I don't know.
That's 2 factors, bro.
Amazing.
Well, some fire whirls were produced in the conflagrations and firestorms triggered by fire bombings of European and Japanese cities during World War II. By the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, fire whirls associated with the bombing of Hamburg, particularly those of the 27th to 28th of July 1943. So imagine dropping a nuclear bomb and it's spawning a fire whirl.
You know what I think of as well? The first time I heard Fire Whirl was like 2012, and all those different tornadoes that they had and natural disasters in the movie. I just think of that.
Imagine if an oil thing gets picked up and it's in a tornado, and then some dude with an axe can just lights their lighter above the axe can and starts like messing around in the backyard and then decides to hit the tornado, and next thing you know, it's a fire.
The whole freaking tornado turns into fire because of you, buddy.
Well, axe cans are fun, okay? Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, particularly in the 1978-1979 fire whirls ranging from the transient and very small to intense long-lived tornadic-like vortices capable of causing significant damage, were spawned by fires generated from the 1000 MW Meteotron, a large series of oil wells located in Landesian Plain of France, used for testing atmospheric motions and thermodynamics. It seems like a lot of places we seem to be developing our oil seems to be a very high spot for fire whirls. Maybe we
Who would have guessed?
Maybe we should work on protecting our oil methods of getting it out of the earth there. Maybe don't keep it so open. Build like a maybe a canopy over it. So if lightning comes, you're not getting freaking
something to help prevent these
people from dying and workers dying. So during the 2003 Canberra brushes in Canberra, Australia, a violent fire whirl was documented. It was calculated to have horizontal winds of 160 miles an hour and vertical airspeed of 93 miles an hour, causing the flashover of 300 acres in 0.04 seconds.
Damn.
Imagine 300 acres getting destroyed in 0.04 seconds.
It's faster than that. It's faster than... How fast do we blink our eyes? It's not quite as fast as we
No,
blink
it's
our
4
eyes.
it's 4 seconds. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Then a fire whirl. That's 300 acres gone.
Wow.
Count every 4 seconds for a minute straight.
Wow.
It's a lot of acres gone. It was the first known fire whirl in Australia to have EF3 wind speeds on the enhanced Fujita scale, or Fujita scale. Is that how you say it? Fujita scale? It's what we go by our natural disasters. Everything's scaled by something.
I said the Vegeta scale.
Vegeta. Over 9,000.
Vegeta.
Well, a fire whirl of reportedly uncommon size for New Zealand wildfires formed on day 3 of the 2714 Port Hills fires in Christchurch. Pilots estimated the fire column to be 100 meters, which is exactly 330 feet high. So then we get to our last case, the most recent case. Residents in the city,
right?
Yes. Residents of the city in Redding, California, while evacuating the area from the massive car fire in late July 2018, reported seeing pyrocumulonimbus clouds and tornado-like behavior from the firestorm, resulting in uprooted trees, cars, structures, and other wind-related damages in addition to the fire itself. As of August 2nd, 2018, a preliminary damage survey led by the National Weather Service in Sacramento, California, rated the July 26th fire whirl as an EF3 tornado with winds in excess of 143 miles an hour.
Ooh.
So that's our most recent fire whirl. Just think, your whole land is on fire in a matter of seconds because of a fire whirl.
I can't even picture my house.
When we think of literally like a natural disaster that's so scary and so shocking, a lot of people think tsunamis are bad. Yeah, those are bad, but just picture a fire whirl. That's when when it comes to the wrapping up of this topic of the fire whirl, natural disasters, they're uncontrollable supernatural forces.
We can't control them, man.
We try to so much. The whole idea.
That's where we mess up at.
It's just the whole idea. Nature is beautiful and it's also destructive. So you have to take everything, you have to love everything. You have to enjoy every little bit of everything because you don't know.
Every moment we have here, you have to enjoy.
You take nature's beauty too much for granted. How long until global warming gets to a point where nature's just like, that's it. This is an Etch-a-Sketch and I'm erasing the freaking books, bro. And then they just start shaking it up. And next thing you know is we're getting earthquakes left and right. We still have that one earthquake that's going to hit us. That's going to be like the worst earthquake. It's going to split a bunch of stuff. It's supposed to be like the worst one we're ever going to have. You heard about that, right? It's like within the next 10,000 years or something.
Yeah, the rate we're going now might be even sooner, man.
I think the highest people we've experienced so far is like a Category 5.
They're talking about, like I was saying earlier, within 12 to 15 years, if we don't start cleaning up the earth, we're not going to have any breathable air. Clean, breathable air within 12 to 15 years.
You talk about taking things for granted.
Pollution, man.
We're doing that, man. We got to make a change, dude. Do you want to see fire whirls?
I think it'd be cool to see one.
Look it up on YouTube. But do you want to experience one?
How would you go about experiencing one? Like, you know how they have tornado hunters.
Get unfortunately bad luck and be caught in one?
Yeah, that would suck.
Why don't you go start a forest fire and see if
I go to California.
somebody gifts you? Poor California. Well, shout out to the people in California. You guys,
rest in peace to all those families, and
you went through some stuff, and we know it
you.
really puts in the true aspect of humanity when you see all those people come together helping one another out when something terrible like this happens.
I want all those people who wax their cars every day and clean their cars every day. We need those people to help clean up the earth because they care. We need more people like that. I think
they care more about their stuff than the earth.
That's true. That's true.
Even though technically the earth is their stuff as well, they're more like, I don't own the earth.
Wax their car every day and still throw water bottles every day outside of their car on the way home from work or
what
to
car
work.
guy do you know is drinking water?
Oh, you're right. It's probably beer.
Or McDonald's.
Bud Light. It doesn't matter.
Mountain Dew.
They're throwing shit out their car.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
You know you are. Trying to keep that car clean on the inside, too.
Yeah. I don't need this in the car. Stink it up.
One day, Mother Earth's going to fight back even harder. We're not going to probably be able to handle it.
It's going to pick up that McDonald's bag and throw it right back at that guy.
With a fire whirl hooked on the end of it.
To flip his whole car.
That would be a funny movie.
That'd be crazy.
Imagine like there's a lawn that fights back.
Mother Gaia.
Dude, we should make a freaking documentary called The World Fights Back.
That would be amazing.
And it's like, yeah, we just do all these natural disasters.
Or it would be like a little skit.
But no, everything before it though. Like, so we'll have a video of someone throwing like trash out their window. Oh, you did this? Well, guess what happened in Tokyo? And it's like a tsunami comes and like kills a bunch of people. Like, everything has a reaction. You wonder why Mother Earth gets pissed is because we're doing shit to her. It's like you're tattooing the Earth.
Yeah.
Stop doing it because she only has a limited amount of natural skin.
I don't understand, like throwing.
Dude, that was a perfect thing, and you're gonna interrupt that. How dare you?
I'm just saying.
Think.
It would be amazing if we did it.
If you take our littering and all that stuff, pollution, as tattooing the Earth, how much natural skin does she have left? The natural beauty of the world, the natural landscapes.
That could be a quote, man.
Write it down, please, because I'm going to forget it.
I don't have a pen.
There's a pen somewhere. There you go. Type it in the notes. Look, everybody, I'm spouting wisdom like a fire whirl.
That was a good one, too.
So anybody that wants to listen to this episode of Fill in the Blank, please take the time to look up a fire whirl and get a little bit more educated on what happens. And he's typing it out on his phone. Tashawn, we're signing off just like a fire whirl. We're going out with speeds of 200 miles an hour. Thanks for being on this episode of Fill in the Blank, and stay tuned for the next episode.
See you guys.